Continuing with round 4 of the Phoenix Festival tournament, we have a few more matches to go over in day 2. As always, use the links in the description below to go and vote for who you think would win in each match and give your reasoning as to why. Our first match of the day is Bertilac Celadon versus Fox Alistair into the urban and forest biomes. Now this is a fight we actually saw take place in RWBY After the Fall between Fox and Bertilac, and in that fight, with a sandstorm raging, Fox was barely able to beat Bertilac, and with some assistance from Edward Caspian, another character exclusive to After the Fall and Before the Dawn, similar to Bertilac. Now Bertilac is a graduate from Shade Academy. He's a pretty big dude, fully fledged huntsman, and fights with a chain mace. Very good at dealing damage close range, but doesn't really have that great long range capabilities. It is able to fire a single shot out of the hilt, which could deal some damage if it connects, but then it needs to be reloaded again before it can fire another shot. So not really that great long range, but close range it definitely is, and his semblance of heat generation is definitely one that shouldn't be taken lightly. He can generate heat from his aura and increase the fatigue in opponents and those around him, as well as the heat is strong enough or hot enough to turn sand into glass when he is fighting in the desert. So he's definitely a very strong opponent. And Fox Alistair, being a member of Team Coffee, is very skilled in his own right. He fights with his twin Tonfa blades, Sharp Retribution, and is a very skilled close combat fighter. Now, the long-range capabilities of Sharp Retribution definitely outclass those of Bertilac's weapon, being able to fire multiple rounds and arguably could deal just as much damage as Bertilac's rounds. We're not exactly sure of the long-range impact that his rounds would have, but still, I would argue Fox's weapons have better long-range capabilities. And during the fight that was taking place between Bertilac and Fox in After the Fall, Fox was able to cut the chain of Bertilac's mace, so it wasn't really that effective as a weapon afterwards, but this fight between Fox and Bertilac in this setting would be much different than in After the Fall, because there wouldn't be the sandstorm that would be raging, and Bertilac would have an easier time locating Fox. As well, Fox would have an easier time locating Bertilac. He would be able to use his semblance of telepathy a lot easier because Edward Caspian's semblance of being able to nullify other semblances or interfere with them wouldn't be interfering with Fox, so he'd be able to locate Bertilac a little bit easier. Also wouldn't have the sandstorm interfering with his assistive technology that describes the environment around him, so the fight would be a lot different, and both of these opponents would be able to locate one another and fight against each other easier. Now Fox is definitely the faster fighter overall, and being on, the urban and forest biomes, he would be able to get a lot easier of a footing compared to the desert, though Fox arguably is very used to fighting in the desert, being from Vacuo originally. This fight would be an interesting one to see, a rematch between these two characters. I still think that Fox has the advantage over Bertilac overall, even though Bertilac is an experienced huntsman, has more training, etc. I think Fox, with his weapons of Sharp Retribution and the speed that he has, would be able to overpower him, but it wouldn't be an easy fight for him to win, just the same as it was difficult for Fox to beat Bertilac in After the Fall. But I think Fox would be able to win overall in this fight, but let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below and through the voting. Our next fight is Roman Torchwick versus Harriet Bree in the Anti-Gravity and Savannah biomes. Now, Roman Torchwick is a fairly skilled fighter, able to parry and block and counterattack against opponents' attacks very easily. He's a very fast-paced fighter, especially close range, and when it comes to long-range capabilities, is pretty good at sniping on top of that. But the speed that Roman has doesn't really compare to Harriet's speed, as her semblance is simply just speed. She is the faster fighter in this match, and would give Roman a lot of trouble because of that, as well as her fast knuckles. I don't know how many of the punches Roman would be able to actually parry with his melodic cudgel, because they would be coming quite fast, possibly faster than Roman has ever experienced in a fight, so this would be very difficult for him to win. Though I could easily see him using the Anti-Gravity and Savannah biomes to his advantage in various ways, as jumping from platform to platform might limit some of Harriet's mobility a bit. We did see her jump around a lot in episode 3 of Volume 7 when all of the Aesops were fighting against the Petragigas, so I think Harriet wouldn't be limited that much, though if Roman was able to start analyzing where and how the anti-gravity biomes were shifting the gravity field around them, he might be able to use that to his advantage. Harriet is a bit quick to anger, has a quick temper along with her quick semblance, so maybe Roman might be able to use that to his advantage, but overall I think Harriet would come out the winner in this fight. Roman, being skilled, he is not as skilled as one of the Aesops, and I think Harriet would just outclass him in this match. But let me know your thoughts as well in the comments below. And then we move on to the teams matches of today. And our first match is Team Dark, created by Raxacory, consisting of Dawn Eos, Ash Umbra, Wraith, and Crimson Stride, versus Team Funky, of course, consisting of Flint Coal, Neon Cat, Cobalt, and Ivory. And they are fighting in the Forest and Savanna biomes. Now, I think Team Dark just simply outclasses Team Funky. They seem to have a lot more training, as well as being more fast-paced fighters. I think they would be able to overwhelm Team Funky without too much difficulty. Crimson Stride would be the one who would struggle the most against Team Funky, especially Neon with her speed that she has. I feel like she would be able to dart around Crimson if that matchup ended up happening, but with Team Dark having Dawn, Ash, and Wraith being able to dart around the battlefield very quickly, and Ash being able to generate the mirror image clone of herself, I feel like that would be able to dodge out of the way of Flint's Killer Quartet when he amped up his trumpet, and Neon's speed would probably be able to be matched by Dawn's speed as well, and Wraith being able to launch himself around the battlefield with his wind dust bullets that are fired out of the blades that he has. I think they would be able to overwhelm Team Funky. It's unfortunate that we don't know more about Cobalt and Ivory, as I feel like that's really holding them back in a lot of the fights that Team Funky has, because Team Funky is quite skilled. Granted, Flint's trumpet maybe isn't the best weapon out there, but Neon, with her speed, and if only we knew her semblance, it might be the rainbow trail that she's leaving behind her that we saw in Volume 3, but we don't have any confirmation on that. I would guess that that's likely her semblance, but still, we have no way of knowing. But she does have dust capabilities in her neon glow stick nunchucks, so she could be able to use that to her advantage. If she's able to hit any of the opponents with that, it would slow them down and do various things that would inhibit their ability to fight, but I overall think that Team Dark would be able to win against Team Funky. Just the different ways that this match is up, I think Team Dark just has the advantage overall. And then our second match of the teams category today is Team Coffee versus Team Ambit. Team Coffee, of course, consisting of Coco Adele, Fox Alistair, Velvet Scarlatina, and Yatsuhashi Daichi, and then Team Ambit consisting of Adam Tauros, Banesaw, Yuma, and Trifa, Adam's White Fang, and they are fighting in the Geyser and Ice biomes. Now this is a bit of an interesting matchup. Overall, I would say that Team Coffee has more skill in general than Team Ambit, Adam being the most skilled member of his team, but Banesaw, Yuma, and Trifa aren't really pushovers in their own right. Trifa, if she went up against Fox Alistair, we saw this match take place in the singles category previously, and it did not go well. Her spinnerets are really the best weapon that she has, as we've seen her fight with a dagger, but she was able to be disarmed very easily. She is able to use her Faunus traits, the spinnerets in her hands, to create webs and restrain opponents, but Fox with his Tonfa blades is really just a hard counter to that, though if she's able to restrain any of the other opponents, that could work really well for her. The thing is, though, Adam, with his semblance of Moonslice, and the speed at which we've seen him be able to block bullets out of the air with his blade, Wilt and Blush, I think that would spell a little bit of trouble for Coco, because if she's using her Gatling gun and firing a spray of bullets, Adam would be able to block a majority of those. I find it hard to believe he would be able to block every bullet launched from Coco's Gatling gun, but he would be able to block enough of them and tank enough of them, I would think, to be able to charge up his semblance to possibly Spider Droid level territory. You know, when he was able to incinerate that Spider Droid by the power that it stored into his blade with the laser that it launched. So it probably wouldn't get to that level, but if he absorbed enough bullets from Coco, especially if she was hyping up the dust volatility into those bullets, I could see that spelling a lot of trouble for Team Coffee if Adam was able to get that off. So just with Adam being present in this fight, I don't think Coco would really activate the Gatling gun that much and more stick to close combat. Not really what she's used to, definitely still strong, because we are assuming that everyone in this tournament has been able to watch previous matches, and they would have already, all of Team Coffee would already know how Adam's semblance works, so they would probably try to avoid that at all costs. This would limit Coco's ability to fight in this battle or participate very much. Still able to fight close combat, and I think she would be able to match Yuma or Trifa, possibly even Banesaw, though Banesaw would give her a lot of trouble. Velvet, with her versatility and speed, though, would be able to overwhelm a lot of opponents, and Yatsu, I think, with his blade, trying to block Adam, well, that might actually turn out to be a bad situation as well. Yatsuhashi has a lot of power in his blade, and if Adam is able to block that with Wilt and tank the blow, absorb the momentum from that, and deal it back with damage, that could deal a lot of damage as well to Team Coffee. I think Fox or Velvet would probably be the best to match up against Adam, though I would argue Adam still even has more skill than them, but I don't think Adam would be able to solo all of Team Coffee, and Banesaw, Yuma, and Trifa I don't think would be enough to overwhelm Team Coffee in general. It would be a tough matchup, and I think that this one could go, it would be a struggle, but I think Team Coffee would be able to win overall, though Adam would give them a lot of trouble. But let me know your thoughts on this one down in the comments below, and of course through the voting as well. So this has been day 2 of round 4 of the Phoenix Festival Tournament. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it so far. The next 2 matches for the grand finals in the doubles category will be out later today, so look forward to that. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with everything happening on the channel. Join the Guild of the Eternal Flame. Tweet me at PhoenixKnight7. Join our Discord server linked in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.